I now go on to Senator Niall O'Donnell, please.
Thank you, Minister, and your officials for the presentation this morning. Minister, I just want, given your own personal engagement and interest on the issue, note the significant judgment coming from London and the Supreme Court today in relation to the Pat Finucane case. I'm sure that's a judgment you and your officials will want to study, and your government colleagues, so I don't expect you to comment on that at all, but just to note that it, from the family's perspective, no. I understand. I don't ask for a comment. Yeah, no, I don't expect you to comment on it or respond to it at this stage. I just note it and indeed its significance. Minister, to go back to an earlier point raised by Deputy O'Leary, and you cited the D'Souza case, one of the big concerns expressed at the recent presentation to this committee by legal and human rights organisations on the impact of Brexit was this notion of citizenship rights versus residency rights, and the concerns about the CTA, as was stated, CTA rights being built on sand. I am glad to hear that you have discussed the issues with the British Home Secretary, but given the live nature of the pursuit of Ahmed D'Souza through the court at the moment, that doesn't necessarily fill us with I suppose from a British government perspective, we have to see legislative action taken that realises fully the Good Friday Agreement. But as Deputy O'Leary also said, and indeed the contributors said the other week, we can also see legislative action being taken in this jurisdiction that fully realises that citizenship rights aspect of the Good Friday Agreement. So, Minister, it's my understanding that on behalf of the committee, the Chair is compiling a report into the contributions and the presentations that we received. I'm sure you'll be facilitated with a copy of that, and I would ask really just to maybe if you could expand on your views on that in terms of what measures can be taken moving forward. I appreciate this is a tight time frame we're in. I appreciate this is uncertain waters, but I think in what has only been sharpened as a result of Brexit indicates that while there's a Brexit or there isn't a Brexit, we do have to get to the point where we're adequately legislating for people's rights in the context and in the spirit of the Good Friday Agreement. And Shinma Medj, really, Chair.
Thank you, Senator.
Yeah, thank you. These are issues of great importance, and as I note from reading the transcript of your committee engagements, we're talking really here about fundamental rights. And now I want to acknowledge from my own department, there is, if you like, a primary responsibility on the part of the Department of Foreign Affairs in these issues. I would be happy, of course, to engage further with the Taoiseach. But what I want to say here is it's important to recognise, Cathaoirleach, that as provided for under the Good Friday Agreement, the European Convention on Human Rights will remain very much incorporated in law in Northern Ireland. And the UK government has confirmed its continued membership of the Convention. I think if you acknowledge that, along with the importance of the Common Travel Area arrangements, and again, we need to be clear that the Common Travel Area arrangements will be maintained in all of the circumstances. We're talking here this morning about the worst case scenario, a no deal, a crash out, but it's important to recognise that the full gamut of common travel area practices will continue. This allows Irish citizens and British citizens to access a range of similar rights in each other's jurisdiction. So what I would be keen to assure the committee is that that will be the case, that there are arrangements of a bilateral nature that we need to ensure are in place, hence the importance of the draft legislation that's before us. And on the longer term issue, I would be very happy to engage further with both the Taoiseach and this committee. But these are areas of fundamental rights pertaining to the ongoing relationship north, south, east, west that we need to be mindful of. And I think the exercise that you had was most useful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Deputy Jim O'Callaghan, you had a further point.